Hello and welcome to the Joint Dota League Season 3 here on HeflaTV 1. It is going to be a best of two series between Win and Mood and Cleave. Well, this is going to be the start of Game 1, and as for your casters, I'm Grandis V, and I'll be joined by Mike Loris.
Yeah, I actually have not seen Cleave play before, though. They are just clean off of a game from Star Series. I don't know how that one panned out for them. Looks like they actually lost that. So they're fresh off of a loss, which can be a little bit tilting, but they were up against Tinker, so, hard matchup. Hopefully for them, this will be a little bit easier.
Yeah, and well, they're not going to have to play up against Tinker as Win Mood. They're going to go ahead and ban that one out, so... I don't know. Tinker a very annoying hero to play up against. Even when you're ahead, you still have like the looming suspicion that Tinker is going to be able to turtle it out and then carry it later.
Yeah, he could turtle if need be. He could go on the aggressive if need be. And if you don't have enough to lock him down, if you don't have like a Doom or something similar to lock him down, and he will just go nuts on your team with Ethereal Blade, Stagions, and lots of pain. But the heroes are going to get through. It's going to be Viper, Skywrath Mage as the first two picks. Faceless Void is going to be picked up first for When in Mood.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see Faceless Void left inside the pool. They'll have the option to pick up the Shadow Shaman if they want to go for it, which I think would be a really solid support for them. Combos decently well with the Chronosphere, although not anything compared to like a Witch Doctor or a Skywrath Mage. You can still put out a lot of damage with those supports. And then on the dire side, also access to Roshan Pit, as well as the pushing for those early towers.
10 seconds to
Yeah, the
go.
Witch Doctor usually isn't banned out, so if they do want to go for that, which with Faceless Void, there's no reason to not want to go for that, they could very easily pick it up a little bit later. Like, usually the supports that do get the boot are Skywrath Mage, Shadow Shaman, Earthshaker, and then depending on, team comps or whatever, Rubik sometimes if you have Enigma already. But yeah, usually Witch Doctor does slip through, so when in Mood might want to play it a little bit, play the Witch Doctor for a little bit later, and then just pick up the Tidehunter for right now. So they're looking at team fight dominance this game.
Yeah, definitely. With already the Chronosphere and the Ravage on the pitch, they're going to have two really big controlling ultimates. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Silencer ban out from them. Oh no, and already they have a really solid silence. We are going to see the Witch Doctor in the pool, as that will be banned out by Cleave. Would have been really solid for Win in Mood. Just standalone, one of those ultimates is great for setting up the Death Ward, but now you have the Chronosphere as well as the Ravage. So whenever either one of those is up as well as the Death Ward, and you can catch more than two heroes inside those. It's a very easy one fight.
Man, as soon as I had to make that point for Witch Doctor, Cleave just had to go and prove me wrong. I guess with the Chronosphere and a Ravage, there was just way too much team fight in order to not kick out that Witch Doctor. There are still a couple more support heroes that can benefit from that amount of setup. Like we saw Jakiro the other day. Not sure if they're going to want to go for that with the Tidehunter pickup, but it could be somewhere along the lines of that. Just get lots of AoE and then dump everything into the Chronosphere or after the Ravage or whatnot. Because Cleave, though they do have a Viper who's going to be very tanky and who will probably survive, Skywrath Mage, if he's caught in the crossfire, he will very easily be brought down.
Yeah, and even the Viper is not immune if he gets caught by both of them, the Chronosphere, and then follow up with the Ravage, or vice versa. They definitely have the damage in order to do so, especially if Faceless Void picks up a couple of big items, and since he's going to be presumably farming the safe lane, that's probably going to be how Win and Mood are going to play it. They're going to go ahead and ban the Bristleback. That's kind of an interesting ban, honestly.
I think it is kind of a preparation for their future picks. The Centaur and Bristleback are very similar in that they are extremely hard to bring down. Even if you do catch him with the Chronosphere, you may not kill him. Even if you do hit him with a Ravage, he will probably survive. And with Viper and Bristleback, that's a little bit too much tankiness for When in Mood to cut through. So they're going to eliminate the possibility for Cleave to just bulk up way too much. Of course, there are always going to be strength heroes in the pool, but as far as strength heroes that are picked up, I mean, most of them are either banned or picked so far. Not many others come to mind that are still in the pool. So, Cleave will always have access to that if they want to go for that. It's not the best way, though, of dealing with a Chronosphere and Ravage.
Yeah, for sure. I'd expect the Shadow Shaman to be picked up, as with those bans that are coming out from both of the teams. He's been ignored through the second picking stage, and if they don't, I'd expect Win and Mood to take him up. I think he's just a little too good to pass through in the draft.
Yeah, probably, but we'll see what Cleave want to pick up, because they do have the first pick after this, after the banning phase. They've kicked out the Mirana, who is a hero that could very easily set up for the Faceless Void Tidehunter. Of course, it does also force the Cleave side to pick up True Sight, which, with no invisibility heroes just yet, is going to be an additional cost for your support heroes, which always sucks. Your support heroes are never going to be too happy about that. They're going to pick up the Earthshaker, no real surprises there. Earthshaker Skywrath Mage is a pretty devastating combination with, most crucially, a very long-range initiation.
Yeah, they can play aggressively or defensively, really good at zoning out offliners with the Arcane Bolt as well as defensive fissures, and then you also have the run potential with Concussive Shot into setting up like a perfect fissure block. You can definitely get some kills. Although Faceless Void and Tidehunter are not the easiest targets, their mid-hero is probably going to be pretty susceptible.
Yeah, and still the Death Prophet is in the pool, though I don't know if they want to be going for that necessarily. They will have access to the Shadow Shaman, who slipped through the entire phase, so 2 more Premier supports going to be in this game. Death Prophet actually looking a little bit better for when in mood now. Not as much for Cleave, though you could pretty much always use a Death Prophet in your lineup.
Yeah, it would shake up their lanes a little bit. I don't know. The Viper would probably be farming up the safe lane towards that mechanism, although I'd probably prefer to see the Death Prophet farming up solo safe, and then, or safe lane with support, and then have the Viper solo mid. I think it would be a lot easier to secure the Death Prophet's farm there, and Viper would be better standalone. And if they need the help, they definitely can roam in this Skywrath and the Earthshaker. I don't know, Death Prophet is another hero that we usually don't see at this portion of the draft that should be a pretty big point of contention.
Yeah, and Mood will have a little bit more synergy with that hero because, once they drop the Ravage and the Chronosphere, they'll be able to just eat people alive with those spirits. And then if you don't want to drop those ultimates, you'll always have the Shadow Shaman. So lots of pushing power. And I think Cleave are definitely considering that pickup just so as a pseudo ban towards when in mood. Though I don't really know if they would want to go that deep into it. There aren't many lineups or matchups that are great versus Death Prophet. There aren't many that completely shut her down. I would say probably the only one that comes to mind is an OD. If you get that matchup, you're going to have a good time. But then, they have to have an OD on their team. With Faceless Void and Tidehunter on the other end, that's dangerous.
Yeah, especially when you already have the Viper, you're kind of investing pretty hard in a lane domination. If those lanes don't go your way, or at least they're able to spam out the waves and get a little bit, it's going to be quite costly for Cleave once those ultimates come offline for the Faceless Void and the Tidehunter, as aforementioned. So yeah, I don't know, it would be very greedy to go for an OD.
All right, Cleave, you're running out of time, so what's it going to be? It's going to be a Bat Rider for them. It's a decently tanky hero, gives them a lot of, again, long-range initiation. If Cleave somehow don't start the fight on their own terms, then I'm pretty sure they're just going to get cleaned up, but that probably isn't going to happen. With Bat Rider, with Fissures, with eventually Blink Daggers on both the Earthshaker and Bat Rider, and worst comes to worst, even just Skywrath Mage Concussive Shot, Cleave should be starting the fights almost 100% of the time. As long as they don't start the fights on with Lasso on Tidehunter, they should be fine.
Yeah, I definitely think that's pretty fair. Lassoing somebody into the Skywrath Mage Mystic Flare is a devastating combination, and they have a lot of tools at their disposal to initiate. And even if it does go a little bit poorly, they'll have the mechanism of the Viper. When in mood, go for the Vengeful Spirit, probably the premier support, to break that lasso coming out from the Bat Rider, as well as comboing pretty well with the Shadow Shaman early on, as long as one of them has boots.
Yeah, and it's very rare that we don't see at least one of the supports in the roaming support duo pick up boots. I think it probably should be the Vengeful Spirit. She just has more base, and if you land the Magic Missile, odds are you're going to have enough time for the Shadow Shaman to get up and land his shackles and whatnot. So when in mood, they'll have a very nice answer for the Bat Rider, probably the best answer for the Bat Rider. Now they're just looking for one more core. I think when in mood, they're probably looking to play this one a little bit slower. Death Prophet is going to be banned out from Cleave. I do like this ban from them. We already kind of discussed why. But when in mood, going to look to pick up a mid lane hero for the Viper matchup. And at this point, it could really be anyone.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of expect that hero that's going up against the Viper to lose his lane, or at least trade evenly at the best case scenario. So they'll need a hero that's going to function okay from behind, although they can afford to have it scale well late as long as it's not going to die in lane solo to the Viper.
So trying to think of some mid heroes that they could pick up right now. I think Ember Spirit would be a pretty good one. He'll have to deal with silences from Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker, but his matchup versus Viper shouldn't be the worst. They could always go for Puck or Storm Spirit, something around those lines. It is difficult laning against a Viper. Maybe a Shadow Fiend? He'll be a little bit too vulnerable, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think either the Ember or the Shadow Fiend will just get roamed on by the Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker and just be demolished by the Viper. I don't know, it's going to be very hard for them to pick up to it, and now Cleave, go ahead and pick up a Spectre.
Alright, well, I said when in mood are going to be playing this one a little bit slower. I think now Cleave are going to be completely okay with that fact. As far as late game is concerned, Spectre versus Faceless Void is kind of a tough call. Spectre is more of a the carry hero that will kill your entire team at the same time, whereas Faceless Void is going to kill one hero, then another, then another. Split pushing and mobility is definitely in Cleave's favor this game, and with the Batrider initiation, Spectre should have a relatively easy time to get a couple of early kills. It's not going to happen easily, but it's definitely on the table.
Yeah, Tidehunter in lane should be able to put a decent amount of pressure onto the Spectre, but with the Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker babysitting the Spec, it should be fairly easy for Cleave to get off to an early start, although the aggressive rotations from the Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker are going to be delayed, or at least come at the cost of some farm on the Spectre.
Yeah, come late game, I think the Spectre should probably contribute a little bit more because, well, actually, I'm not too sure. Batrider is most likely going to be going up against 3 heroes up on the top lane for Cleave, whereas the Tidehunter is going to be going up against 3 down bottom. Spectre can't really get kills on Tidehunter very easily unless the Earthshaker gets a perfect Fissure block. And even when that happens, Anchor Smash is going to devastate Spectre's damage output. Like, she'll still be able to use the Desolate, which is always going to be relevant, but Tidehunter is rather bulky. And when in mood, it's going to be an Alchemist as their last. If this is a mid-Alchemist, I don't know if I like this at all.
Yeah, in lane, he's not going to be able to do very much of anything. Usually how Alchemist functions in the mid lane is by spamming out those, that acid spray. But up against a Viper, if he just puts a couple of points in that corrosive skin, that plan is completely going to fail. I don't know, we might even be seeing like a mid lane Faceless Void. He'll be able to survive a little bit better up against the Viper and will function similarly to how we see off lane Voids. I think I'd like that laning choice a little bit better than the mid Alchemist, but not really feeling the Alchemist pick at all.
Yeah, I wish I was a little bit more familiar with when in mood so I would know who would be playing in what lane. But we'll see as they do now enter the game, and, well, they're going to their respective lanes. No surprises for when in mood. They're sending the Tidehunter down to the bottom lane. He's going to be played by Tommy. And up towards top for now, it looks like Vil is going to be playing the mid lane Alchemist, unless anyone makes rotation. Shadow Shaman is going to be supporting, played by Velosmir. On the Vengeful Spirit, it's going to be the Flying Spaghetti Monster, FSM. And then Faceless Void is going to be handled by Valix.
And on the Radiant side, we are going to have Cleave with Hakan playing on the Batrider. Mid is going to be handled presumably by the Viper, by Stress. I think that's where he's going to go with the Wraithband as well as the pooled Tengas. The two supports are going to be Metrum playing on the Earthshaker. Sanikos of the Lapida is going to be playing on the Skywrath Mage. And Roger going to be taking up the Spectre.
And by the way, guys, because we don't speak this language, it is very likely that we will slip up and call them the wrong thing occasionally, so you guys are just going to have to deal with that. We see Batrider doing a little bit of an old-school tactic and clearing out all the trees, and then, well, he actually doesn't have a ward, so he will have some pretty decent coverage, though, against a Shadow Shaman and a Vengeful Spirit. It's going to be very difficult for him to actually stay alive. He does have boots, which is going to help, but, well, actually, Shadow Shaman and Vengeful Spirit, they're not picking up any boots either, so this roam is going to be a very slow roam.
They do have the smoke, and if they get a good rune, they might be in a good situation. They have a double damage rune, which will help them zone out the Batrider a little bit, but probably not going to net them any kills. The ward placed by the Batrider was instantly dewarded. He placed it somewhere over here. But yeah, instant sentry comes out from the Shadow Shaman as well as Vengeful Spirit. They're currently spotted out by an Observer ward, which they will deward. Possibly after just expecting that to be there, so no smoke has actually come out from either of them just yet, but both of the wards being dewarded from the Win in Mood side, it's going to make this laning phase a lot easier for them, and potentially make these rotations all the more deadly, and they're going to smoke straight up towards mid, or towards top rather, as the Batrider might get caught out.
Well, Batrider should have seen the smoke in their inventory. He is playing rather far back, and Flying Spaghetti Monster going to breach the high ground, throw out the missile, but Batrider is now down in the waterfall, or that's a waterfall area. Not really sure what to call that, but he will fly himself over to safety, and the first smoke is ultimately going to be a failure. Kind of ambitious for When in Mood to go for that, because they know that Batrider does have Firefly, so they needed to lock him down before he could get that skill off, and that's just not going to happen. It's going to be very difficult to make that happen, so When in Mood, they're not going to get that first blood.
Yeah. I don't know. That might have went differently if they had boots on the Shadow Shaman, but in the end, just not going to be able to get those shackles as he was off towards the side. The bottom lane is going to be well in the favor of Cleave, although Tidehunter got some experience and hasn't died yet. He has the boots first as well as some regen to help sustain him through this lane, but it's not a great place to be as a Tide, because if the Fissure comes out and does block him off, he's going to take a lot of damage. If he's not careful, he might end up falling, although I think it'll just zone him out from last hits.
It's definitely easier for Tommy to die than the Batrider. Now the Fissure block is in threat, although it's on the wrong side. Doesn't really matter, Spectre does run right through the wall, But Tidehunter, he's tanky enough to survive. He's got the 1 point Kraken Shell. Not going to be a huge deal, but it's going to be enough for him to survive. In the meantime, the top lane Batrider looks like he just got Magic Missile, and Vengeful Spirit going it alone. It's going to very heavily pressure back this Batrider. But again, no kills should happen on these offlanes unless these offlaners get a little bit too careless. And at that point, it's going to be all about the mid lane. Alchemist for right now is tied with the Viper. I don't expect that to continue though.
Yeah, once Viper gets some more levels up into his poison attack, most importantly is he's completely ignored that the melee hero of the Alchemist is going to be zoned out. Although he won't die, especially once he gets his level 6, he won't be able to hit creeps as easily. The two supports, they've actually bought two smokes coming out from his Shadow Shaman, just trying to abuse the fact that the enemy team is going in blind, but still no boots on either of them. Not sure if these are going to net them any kills.
Take a look at what's happening on bottom there. Creep cutting with Spectre, Skywrath Mage, and Earthshaker. I can't say I've ever seen that before, but they're just going super aggressive and trying to pressure this tower. With the Spectre, I don't know if this is the right move. They could just be completely fine with having the tower keep the creep equilibrium in place, and we'll just farm up the lane there. But they're looking for mid lane. The smoke has been used, and Stress is in a little bit of trouble. FSM going to close the distance, but there's no Alchemist stun to follow up. This is going to be a tower dive. They will throw out the Howl. Stress is going to be hit with one stun. Then the other, though, if FSM is getting focused by the tower, he's going to go down. Very easily done by Cleave. I mean, Stress is still at half HP. He's just fine. If this mirror needs to get in for the shackles, but he's just so damn slow. As a Shadow Shaman, here comes support from the Earthshaker. He's going to, well, get hit with the stun, the Unstable Concoction. Now Earthshaker, he knows that Shadow Shaman is still in the area, and they found him. No? Oh, he just walked right by. Okay.
Fog is a fickle thing every once in a while. He looks for the fissure block and actually finds it. It looks like Avilos Mirror is going to give up his life here. He's going to trade decently with the Viper, but in the end, Nether Toxin Corrosive is going to be too much. The Courier brings something out to the Viper. It is going to be the headdress, and Alchemist can't get in range. That's first blood for Stress.
And when in mood, make a pretty large blunder. Throwing the Vengeful Spirit into tower range, though she does have 4 armor, is not what you want to do. They needed to open up with an Alchemist stun, though really coming from that angle when Stress was so far to the south was never really going to pan out because, again, these support heroes don't have any boots. Maybe if they had boots, they would have caught up to the Viper, or maybe if the Alchemist started to stun first, they would have done it, but they didn't do either of those things. So Viper is going to get away with a little bit of experience from the Vengeful Spirit death, and then, of course, this First Blood. Level 5, almost level 6 Viper is going to wreak havoc in this lane, even more so than expected.
Yeah. A lot of the damage coming out from the Alchemist is physical, however, so Corrosive Skin in that regard isn't going to help you tank up, but still just going to be very annoying for the Alchemist to deal with and can't really trade very effectively. Although he's doing better than I thought he would in this lane, 17-1. If those kills hadn't gone the way of Stress, this lane would have gone swimmingly for win in mood.
It's because Stress is going for a super defensive Viper build. It's in anticipation for the roams, and I don't know if the 3 Corrosive Skin made a difference in that last dive. It didn't look like it did, but it might have, so Viper is making sure to stay safe versus the roaming supports of When in Mood, and it's better to be safe than dead, as I always say, so you can't really blame him for going a path like this. Though if he did have 3 points of Nether Toxin instead of Corrosive, Vil was going to be getting a lot less out of this lane. He's going to be bottling and just throwing the acid whenever he can, but Stress should have the lane more or less on lockdown. And we took a look at the side lanes again. Tidehunter is level 4, he has 3 CS, Batrider almost level 5 with 8. Both of these offlane heroes aren't really getting that much. They can go to the jungle, though it looks like there are not many stacks to be had.
Yeah. I would have liked to see the supports coming out from the Radiant stacking those up, as, I don't know, especially the Earthshaker isn't able to do much up against the Batrider unless he gets a good block, and, or the Tidehunter, excuse me. Yeah, for now he's going to sit for that 6-minute rune is up in top. We have the Magic Missile follow-up Shackles onto the Batrider. That'll be a fairly easy kill. He wasn't able to get over to the waterfall this time.
Chronosphere being committed, that's the aggressive power that you get by having a Faceless Void hit that level 6 mark. And unfortunately for Cleave, they don't really have the same thing. Spectre, once she hits her level 6, yes, she does get a large jump in power, but it's not really a single target focus jump in power. It'll mean that she could help out the Viper in killing off the Alchemist or something like that, or just farm safely on the bottom lane while the rest of the team sets up kills. But it won't be, something to really shut down this Tidehunter. If the Faceless Void was in this lane and on the other team, then it'll be, much easier for them. But Stress is in a little trouble. This time they're going to open up with a stun. Plus they have a face rune now on Vengeful Spirit and Boots. this Stress Viper is going to be demolished, although here comes support from the Skywrath Mage. Stress is still alive. He will get the kill on the Shadow Shaman. There's a Fissure now, going to catch two. Vil is going to take a lot of damage from the Skywrath Mage, though he is popping the ultimate plus the bottle. He's generating pretty quickly, and Flying Spaghetti Monster does have a Salve plus Haste Rune. He's going to turn around, actually. Vil going to throw a long-range stun, catch onto the Earthshaker. Can they kill him off? They have a shotgun. They should be able to reach it. Yes, Shadow Shaman does get the kill. FSM does run out of his Haste Rune, but in the end, Cleave, they lose to it. Looked like they were going to get something, but Vil is a little bit too survivable.
Yeah, that ultimate coming out at a great time for him, and yeah, it was a good rotation to start things off. They got the kill on the Viper before he went down, which is very important. It's going to make sure that Stress doesn't fall too behind. Yeah, currently completely tied up as far as CS is concerned, and has been involved in the same amount of kills, although the Viper hasn't died. Or, the Viper has died.
And Spectre, if she had just a little bit more experience, if she was level 6, that could have been potentially very bad for When in Mood. This is a level 3 Desolate Spectre, so her illusions are going to be hitting like trucks. It's not going to be a fun time for the supports from When in Mood. And just now she hits level 6, but it's a little bit too late. She could have potentially gotten a double kill if she was just a little bit higher level. And the Faceless Void, he's been splitting the experience a lot less with his supports than the Spectre, so he was a higher level. And now they're going to haunt in. Who do they want to go for? It looks like they just want to go for the Tidehunter, get that extra damage. They have the Fissure plus the Ancient Seal. He has a Ravage, but I don't think he's going to have a chance to use it. Skywrath Mage, of all people, gets the last hit on the Tidehunter. Haunt used for that. I don't know if it was completely necessary, but they got him.
Yeah, they weren't able to get any kills on the other side of the map, and it didn't really bother any of the other heroes. His Faceless Void has a Morbid Mask, and, well, mid, they're going to dive down onto Vil. He is slowed down, but with no Viper Strike committed to that, they won't be able to get that kill. They're looking for the range in the Shackles. He's not going to be able to find it, not fast enough, even though both of them have effectively exactly the same movement speed, actually.
Viper's actually fairly slow as well, though his poison usually does make up for that. So even if the Shadow Shaman got that Shackle, I don't really know if the Viper was in any real trouble. Again, 4 points in the Corrosive Skin means that he takes next to nothing from the Shadow Shaman. And Shadow Shaman didn't even have wards or something to even go for the Hail Mary. So Viper's going to keep applying this steady pressure to the Alchemist, though the chip damage isn't really going to be doing anything as of right now because the Alchemist does have his ultimate up, so any damage that the Viper throws will not stick. It's either go all in or don't even bother and don't even waste the mana. He does have support in the Earthshaker right behind him, but that's not really enough, although the ultimate from the Alchemist does run out. Where's the Viper Strike? There it is. Vil's going to go down solo.
Yeah, they have a Fissure at the end of it, but they didn't even need it. Viper, he was sitting inside that Acid Spirit, the maxed out Corrosive Skin going onto him, and there was nothing the Alchemist could do. He needed his ultimate there, and it was just coming off the cooldown a little too late.
Bottom lane, that might be setting up for the Tidehunter, although Skywrath Mage, he's level 5, but he doesn't have his Mystic Flare just yet, so killing off the Tidehunter without the Earthshaker probably not going to happen. They just don't have enough lockdown. Earthshaker's going to move up to the top lane, however, and Batrider does have his lasso, so maybe you get a kill on the Faceless Void if they chain stun him correctly.
Potentially. He has a Chronosphere, so it's pretty dangerous going into him.
Bottom Ambulance is going to get the Shackles off, and the Silence was already used. Anchor Smash is there. Ravage, no mana. The Skywrath Mage does hit his level 6, and then drop the Mystic Flare, trying for the neutral deny. It's going to be successful as well. They get nothing when in mood. They just get completely cleaned up.
Yeah, Skywrath Mage for a denied Shadow... Shadow Shaman for a denied Skywrath Mage. I think I said that the other way around, but still, big win for Cleave. They won't get experience or gold for that kill, and at this early level, the Skywrath Mage doesn't really mind not being there for 16 seconds, especially since the Spectre is able to farm, so huge win for them, even though the kill score is going to look even.
So Cleave sitting pretty right now. Spectre is sitting at a very crucial 2,900 gold, actually just cracking 3,000 now. Is Stress going to go for round 2 onto Vil, and once again, this Alchemist does not have his ultimate. He's going to charge his stun, but he's going to take a lot of poison damage. There's a Shackle onto Stress, but again, Corrosive Skin value. There's a jump in for the Face Void, though. They have a Chronosphere if they need to use it, and they don't need to use it. It's a kill on the Viper, and Vil is dropping very low, but will survive. Now's a Chronosphere onto 2 catching Skywrath Mage as well as the Earthshaker. Skywrath's going to take the first fall. Is there anyone to disable the Earthshaker? Looks like the answer is no, but the Faceless Void comes in and gets a double kill. Not really what you would expect from a farming Faceless Void, but hey, kills are kills, and he's going to be very happy that he has them.
Yeah, it was kind of lucky that he got that bash on the Viper. It was a first hit bash to make sure that he didn't need the Chronosphere for that kill. I think he would have died either way, but at the very least securing that he could go for more as he got the double Chronosphere, so no defensive fissures would stop him, and 2 for no exchange with a nice rotation coming out from the Void, and now sitting on 1,300 gold on top of his Mask of Madness and Power Treads, and they'll be able to push into this tier 1 tower fairly easily as well. They're getting some really good farm onto their Spectre. She's saving up for that relic towards her Radiance, but her game impact is going to be quite delayed.
The Batrider was looking for a kill opportunity down on the Tidehunter, though Tidehunter, even though he was, I believe, completely blind to this, was not even aggressed upon, so he's going to be just fine. And in the meantime, Valix plus FSM, they're going to try to take down this top tier 1 tower. Earthshaker's going to be around potentially for a fissure block in to deny, and well, the tower's going to go down one way or another. The question is, who's going to get it?
The catapult.
Good job, Catapult.
So more gold going the way of Cleave. In the meantime, we do have the Batrider picking up his blink, and this is the go time for Ikon here, is he'll be able to try for a solo kill, or not a solo kill, but a pick off on a solo hero with a blink if he gets a smoke purchased by one of his supports. So let's see where this Batrider is going to go with the first blink dagger rotation. It is 12 minutes in, it's kind of expected that they'll have it, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to catch anybody out, but in mid, they're going for Vil here. He is hasted up on the Viper, but the Concoction stun will delay things and at least secure the Alchemist's retreat. Cost him a TP in, but now they're going to jump in with the Batrider. They pull back Bill. He doesn't have enough mana for his ultimate. Nice swap will break that, and that'll be the end of it. But looks like Stress might just decide to dive this and try for 2 kills here, as FSM doesn't have enough mana for anything. Drops the Viper Strike for this one. He should be able to get that one, but the Shackles come out from the Velos Mirror as the Skywrath Mage ultimate blows up the Shadow Shaman. Vengeful Spirit actually did survive. All they need is a little bit more damage will to be able to get it. Spectre dies on bottom to the Faceless Void as well as the Tidehunter. They had to commit the Chronosphere, but no Ravage is back behind the tier 2 tower. FSM going to be brought down by one more auto attack of Stress. Stress can't go for Vil as the ultimate is activated, and a lot of action going around on this map.
Yeah, the Wen and Mood side lose a couple heroes over in the mid lane, but most crucially, they slow down the Spectre. Oh wait, never mind, she already had her Sacred Relic, so Wen and Mood, though they do get 1 kill, it kind of doesn't mean anything. Yes, it's a little bit more gold for the Faceless Void. The Spectre's out of the lane, not farming, stuff like that. They burn the Chronosphere for it, and it's a worthwhile kill to have, but it could have come at a better time. And Vil's constantly being aggressed upon by Stress. The timing of that mid lane haste rune jump was absolutely perfect from Stress. Like, he went in as soon as the Alchemist's ultimate ran out. And then once that happens, the Alchemist is going to be food for the Viper. Though now the Blade Mail, Alchemist is going to punish the Viper a little bit, so Stress might not even want to go for that Alchemist anymore. But at a certain point, it's like, do I even need to focus the Alchemist at all? Because he's not really doing anything. He's just a free bag of gold, and if the free bag of gold has thorns, you don't grab it.
Yeah. It's going to be an Ancient Stack for Tommy. They could have given that to the Alchemist, but they're going to prioritize the Blink Dagger for the Tidehunter, which I think is a solid choice. He might also be going for the Mechanism for his team, as I don't think anybody else is purchasing that. Yeah. So, we'll have to see where Tommy is going to go, and I think with the Time Walk into Chronosphere, he might have the luxury of going for the Mechanism, and I prefer that choice.
Yeah, the Alchemist could manage to get a decently paced Mechanism because he does have 2 points in Grievel's Greed, though slowed down by the Blade Mail, and, well, bottom lane, they're being completely surrounded, Cleave. They don't know about it, though. They're going to try to initiate onto Velos Mirror. There's the Haunt as well. Lots of damage onto the Shadow Shaman. Where's the Chronosphere? Not even needed. It's not even up. The Batrider is going to try to flee, as will Roger, but he's getting hit with the Magic Missile. FSM taking a lot of damage in the fire. He won't burn just yet, but the Mask of Madness on the Spectre going to be bashed down. That's a dominating streak for Valix, and he sees another. Oh, he misses the Chronosphere just as it comes up. Quick blink from the Batrider, keeping himself alive. They're going to be happy about that, but still, it is a 1-for-2 trade. They lose their Spectre again. Wen and Mood getting a nice fight down there.
Yeah, the Spectre's Radiance, although her Relic timing was good, she hasn't had any progression items after dying twice post picking that up. So despite having like a 12.5 minute Relic, at 15 minutes in, she's no closer to picking up the completed Radiance. Blink Dagger is going to be the choice coming out from Tommy, so the Mechanism is going to either be on the Alchemist or him, but it'll be delayed, whereas Cleave already have theirs. But with the teamfight ultimates, they still have a pretty decent advantage when they're actually in a 5-on-5 engagement. They still have to wait a minute for the Chronosphere, but Ravage is up, and they should be able to take fights here, especially without the Spectre doing much.
Yeah, Faceless Void is just absolutely jacked right now. He has Power Treads, got the Mask of Madness, got the Maelstrom. That's about a Maelstrom more than you would see from an ordinary Faceless Void farm at this stage in time. So lots of damage coming out of this guy. And if he's set up with a Ravage, then he's going to be, you know, A-okay. They're going to take down the tower. I don't know how the Earthshaker managed to outlast a Viper, but it happened. That's actually going to benefit the Earthshaker quite a bit. And that means his Blink Dagger is going to come up a little bit sooner than it ordinarily would. They're going to try to look for Valix. He's sitting on a dominating streak, so he's a very high priority kill to take, but he has level 4 Time Walk. I don't think this is even going to happen. Everyone's spotted out, in fact.
Yeah, nice word coming out from them, and not a chance that they'll be able to get this Faceless Void kill. Even if they win on him, a quickly timed time walk away would save him. He has his Chronosphere coming off of cooldown in about 5 seconds here. So they might go aggressively, but for now they're going to back off into the Roshan pit with the Serpent Wards as well as the minus armor coming out from the Medallion as well as the How. This is going to be a very fast Roshan. I'm not sure that Cleave actually know this is going on.
Well, even if they did know what was going on, with this much minus armor, Roshan at minus 11, it's going to be way too late. So Velix is going to get an Aegis, so he could feel free to YOLO dive into the Cleave side and get whatever he can get. Cleave, they might take down this tier 1 tower, but in exchange for Roshan, I don't really know if that's worth it. Batrider's completely spotted out. He's going to jump forward for Firefly. Okay, so his Blink Dagger's down, his Firefly is down, and they will fortify the tower. There's the jump forward for the Chronosphere. Going to catch 2. Mystic Flare, though, going to force movement out of Velix, and here comes the Tidehunter for a Ravage. Going to catch onto 2. Stress is still alive, but not for long. Velix is still alive as well. He's going to now try to go for this Earthshaker. He's walking in place for an Echo Slam. Will get it off, but won't actually do anything with it. Now Soneko going to be focused down by Vil. 2 swipes of the double damaged Alchemist, and he wants more of the Batrider. Batrider has a Blink Dagger, needs to hide. Will blink into the trees and teleport out. It looks like he will stick the landing. Spectre is in the meantime up top, farmed up her Radiance, but they lost 3 after not getting the tower, which is in deny range, and they're going to lose a tier 1 tower. Things are not going well for Cleave in this game.
No, they really aren't. They've spent a lot in order to get this Radiance on the Spectre, and although Radiance is a really good item for Spectre, it's not the end-all be-all for her. She needs another item on top of it to really become a threat, whether that's a Manta or a Heart. She's going to use the Haunt here. And go down towards bottom lane, potentially going aggressive onto Tommy. It looks like Tommy's going to fall to the Desolate as well as Radiance Burn. He didn't really stand a chance. Vil is here standing up Roger, but he doesn't have enough backup. With the Blade Mail, however, he might be able to get this. The Dispersion as well as Radiance Burn actually hurting Roger, but he's body blocked by one of his allied creeps, and oh, that's so sad.
This melee creep, man, I don't know if it would have made a difference, and Spectre actually very smartly turned off the Radiance when she was running away from the Blade Mail. Like, many players forget that you could actually do that, and it's not relevant often, but, and I don't even know if it was relevant then, but just some cute little tactics so the Spectre takes a little bit less damage, ensuring that she does escape, but hey, when you pay off some melee creeps, you're probably going to escape 100% of the time.
Yeah, if the melee creep wasn't there and the Radiance Burn was on, I think she would have died, but 2 things make up for the Spectre's life, and it's going to be very good for Cleave, and gives them a little bit more room to wiggle with, although this Faceless Void is still stacked. As you said earlier, he's almost well on its way towards BKB with the 2 major components. At 18 minutes in, this is a very scary Faceless Void, and his impact compared to that of the Spectre is going to be a lot bigger. He has plenty of damage to go into the Chronosphere, and this tier 2 tower doesn't really stand a chance. With the Serp Wards on the ground and everybody up top, they're TPing back in. Will they even be able to defend against this before it actually falls? I don't think so.
Well, they are Fireflied off to the side. Batrider is going to get Hex as soon as he jumps in. Is running follow-up. There's a Shackle, but they can't get the Alchemist done. There it is, finally. Chronosphere going to catch 2 with Face Void going to go to town and Scour with Mage. They're focusing the Batrider. They will be able to bring him down, though. Flying Spaghetti Monster will go down in exchange. So far, it's 3-2 in favor of When and Mood, that they're going to lose Vil very shortly. He's not going to escape from this one. Faceless Void also on the way out. The Tidehunter. Where was the Tidehunter? He was on bottom doing I don't know what. But if they had a Ravage there, that would have been almost a clean sweep of Cleave. But deciding to take that fight with having fewer members, bad idea for When in Mood.
Yeah, Tidehunter Ravage just came off of cooldown like 3 seconds ago or something like that, so they wouldn't have had it even if he was there, but even just like a Gush or an Anchor Smash could have turned that and maybe gotten 1 more kill. Still, it is going to be a 3 for 3 in the favor of When in Mood because they got the tier 2 tower.
Getting these tier 2 towers and When in Mood, it's the correct thing to do because their Faceless Void is so far ahead. Like, he is 20 minutes into the game but has pretty much 30 minutes worth of items. So they're ahead right now, and to get more ahead, they have to capitalize on the Ravage and capitalize on the strength of the Faceless Void. They do that by taking down these tier 2 towers. If they sit back and farm, yes, Faceless Void will still be a really devastating hero late, and Alchemist can transition into the Alchemist that we all know and love, where he's just bashing things down left and right. But it's going to be up against a Spectre, so things are going to get a little bit sketchy for them. If they keep going for these aggressive plays, I think it will be the correct thing to do for When in Mood. And top lane, Vil is going to be initiated upon with the Fissure. He does have his stun being channeled. He's going to throw it onto the Earthshaker, it looks like, but they're actually going to change their mind and go for Stress. Here comes Roger from the back end, though. The Radiant's going to absolutely destroy FSM, as well as the Velos Mirror. They're trying to focus down this Viper, but it's not happening. Viper is going to stay strong. Vil's going to try to finish it off, but he doesn't actually have any damage. So it's going to be a clean sweep up on top lane. In the meantime, bottom, they're going to try to take a tier 3 tower, though Tidehunter, not that healthy right now, is going to have a mech delivered to him. They will take the tower in exchange for 3, but at this point, it's just not worth it. Yeah,
if they'd gotten a kill or 2 down in bottom, it would have been good for them. But yeah, you don't want to lose your Alchemist Venge as well as Shadow Shaman. That Radiance as well as the Desolate coming out from Spectre paying off huge there. I don't know, I thought the Alchemist would survive a little bit longer, but once his supporting cast was gone, big win for Cleave, as that is a tower for tower as well as the 3 supports. Although the tower and bottom is more important as far as map control is concerned, Cleave are still going to be happy with what they just got. Now the Spectre has overtaken the net worth of the Faceless Void, and with 4,500 gold, could be well on his way towards his next item, whether that's a heart, which is probably what I would think it will be, or maybe a Manta style. It is going to be the Heart of Trask with Vitality Booster and Reaver on the Courier.
I think When in Mood might have just forgotten about the Spectre because they went into a 3v2 and, well, you can't really argue with those numbers, but suddenly when there's a Spectre in that fight as well with a Radiance and who's soon to be very, very bulky, suddenly 3v2 is 3v3 and, well, 2 of your heroes are supports, so that's not exactly good times for the When in Mood side. They are getting some towers, which, as you said, for map control is really important, but I think they're giving up a little bit too much. They have to face down a Batrider with Blink and Force Staff, and now Metrum, the Earthshaker, has his Blink as well. And Spectre only needs, well, about 400 more gold, and she'll have her Heart, Aghanim Scepter up on Viper. Whereas When in Mood, their Faceless Void is still having a great game, but the rest of his teammates, they just aren't. They need to take a really nice team fight with the Ravage and the Chronosphere, and hopefully focus down the Spectre.
Yeah, definitely. There's just so many big core items coming out from Cleave. Roshan is not going to be available for quite some time. At least 2 minutes is up in top. We might see a go. They're going to group up and potentially take down this last tier 2 tower, which would be huge for When in Mood. They're going to force it with Chronosphere and Ravage available. I don't think this is a poor move by any stretch of the imagination. But Spectre, she's going to be able to farm in mid lane as well as finish up her Heart of Trask before she jumps in, and will be able to jump in with the Haunt. They're committing here with the Viper Strikes, going to delay it, and I don't know, not putting that much damage on the tier 2 tower. Vil pops his ultimate and then goes to work, but it's just doing very little. Slowly but surely they'll put some chip, but Spectre's doing the same to their tier 2 mid.
They're going to commit the Serpent Wards, but still Stress's ultimates will fly constantly due to that Aghanim Scepter upgrade. The tower is going to drop low, but there's the Haunt in. Who is he going to go for? Will he even go at all? Or is it just a force back? There's Roger going in for the Velo Spear, and the jump in from the Batrider. He'll instantly get stunned, though. He has the Face Void in lasso, but he can't bring him down. There's the BKB pop Face Void. Gonna jump right in for a 2-man Chronosphere. Going to focus down Stress. Echo Slam from Metrum. Gonna do a little bit of damage, but definitely not enough. Scarlet Mage going to go down. Stress still standing strong, but he is quickly being outnumbered. Spectre in the back end, chasing down every single support, and it looks like the Faceless Void has lost the man fight with Stress, and Tommy also will get picked off by the Viper. Spectre and Viper cleaning house, whereas the rest of their team died instantly. It doesn't matter. They got a great fight there. Vengeful Spirit is the only one to walk away from that.
Yeah, they clean up every single core from the side of Whim, and more importantly, their Viper and Spectre survived. That's going to be another 1,000 gold on top of the newly completed Heart of Spectre. It was a little bit of an awkward initiation coming out from them. They used the Haunt and then couldn't decide who to go on, and then they ended up diving into Chronosphere and Ravage, which is why everybody else died. But with Aghanim Scepter on your Viper, as well as a Mechanism and Power Treads, Roger also with his completed Heart, they just didn't die, and there was very little that they could actually do to focus it down, especially when the Faceless Void died. He had his BKB, which is really good about surviving against Spectre, but it was just too much.
Yeah, he was sitting in a lasso with the Mystic Flare before he got that off, so even though he was magic immune, it was magic immune at less than half HP, which means that you're not going to be lasting very long. And I said before, the When in Mood side can focus down the Spectre, not as much so anymore. She's sitting at 2,300 gold, she's got 9 armor, 2,300 health rather, she's got 9 armor, and she is hitting like an absolute truck. If you're a Velosmere, or if you're FSM, you just gotta run. And if you're Vil, well then it's a little bit too late to run, because he's lassoed, he's Mystic Flared, and popping the Blade Mail, it's a little bit too late for that, man. He's gonna go down.
Yeah. Alchemist, he's not looking very good in the HP department, pretty much the same as the Vengeful Spirit, even with the Heaven's Halberd. Now this tier 2 tower up in top is more than likely going to fall, and with no tier 2 towers on the side of Cleave, there won't be a trade anywhere on the map, so Cleave are looking good. That's a completed Yasha on your Spectre. Looking for really good Manta-style timing after she picks up the Radiance, and then it's all damage from there, whether it's, I don't know, Butterfly or Diffusal Blade. I'd rather prefer the Diffusal, as the Butterfly Evasion is going to be disabled by the Faceless Void, but either of those item choices will do a whole lot in these team fights.
Anything to help her illusions do that extra bit of damage. In the end, I don't really know if it's going to come down to a duel between Faceless Void and Spectre, and if it does come down to it, Faceless Void is probably going to win, even though Spectre does have a large HP advantage. Void with Bash is hard to overlook. Spectre's going to be hitting like an absolute truck. Once she haunts, I want to say at this point, it'll at least force spells out from the When in Mood side. If they don't cast anything onto those illusions, the Vengeful Spirit's probably going to die, the Shadow Shaman's probably going to die. Actually, a Ghost Scepter Shadow Shaman might live, but still, the supports are going to get hit really hard by this Spectre. And Cleave, I think they're pretty much over the hump of their weakness. They are now going to have a lot of initiation range working for them, as we discussed in the draft, so they have that going for them. They have a late game Spectre, and When in Mood, they had a great start, but they have very quickly run out of steam. They're going to group up in what looks like for a smoke gank, but it's going to be for all for naught because Spectre Haunt is going to scout everything.
They are grouped up so Desolate damage not coming out, and the mechanism will heal a majority of that since the Ghost Sifter went out in the Shadow Shaman, but still, it's going to negate the effectiveness of that smoke, and they also have an illusion in the pit coming out from the Batrider. And yeah, as far as the other items coming out, Viper picks himself up a completed Heaven's Halberd, and he's going to be even more tanky. Although the evasion is disabled, if he's outside of, or inside Chrono, if he is outside of the Chronosphere and the BKB wears off for the Faceless Void, he's going to be doing nothing once he's disarmed.
They're going to go for that fast Roshan again. They have all the minus armor in the world, so Roshan should be pretty fast. And Cleave, unfortunately, though they were just in the area, have decided to back off. Well, maybe not. Hakan going to go to the skies, sees everything. Baller Steal? No Baller Steal. Just going to throw a Flame Break and back off. So they know that they're going to be facing down Aegis. There's a jump forward from Valix, going to look for a Chronosphere. They have to focus down Roger, but the last one in the meantime can happen on the Velosphere. He's going to pull up to the high ground. He might burn in the fire, and it seems like he will, though. So FSM does swap him out. Velosphere will go down the end, plus the Mystic Flare onto FSM will bring him down as well. Roger's actually stuck in the trees. Nobody tell When in Mood. There we go. Force Staff out, but instantly into the Chronosphere. Valix going to go to town onto the Batrider. Can he bring him down with the mech? It'll make it a little bit difficult. The BKB will keep him safe from the fissure, and Rogers, though, still at pretty much full HP. Now going to start bidding Bash down. There's a stun for the Vengeful Spirit. For the Echo Slam, not going to do much except for slow down the Faceless Void with the stun. There's the Ravage onto Roger, and it looks like Roger will barely slip away. He does have to worry about a Faceless Void with an Aegis, but it seems like he's alive for now. Valix going to jump to the left and go for Stress. He's going to start bashing down, but a fissure will slow him down once again. FSM taking down to that Viper Strike. Stress dropping very low. We'll have a Heaven's Halberd up shortly, so even if Valix does jump in, he won't be able to attack. Stress is going to be completely abandoned by his team, trying to teleport out. Very ambitious. Not going to happen. Viper Strike on FSM with one right click. He's going to get a kill before he dies at least, or, you know, after he dies, but still a kill's a kill. Cleave, it's not the cleanest fight for them. Their Spectre didn't exactly have as much time to run rampant.
Yeah, she spent a lot of that inside the woods, and her ultimate was used previously, so without a hunt, not the scariest of heroes. They will have it for the next fight, however, and there is a window where Ravage isn't going to be up for 100 seconds. Chronosphere will be up, but, I don't know, with just a Chronosphere, the Haunt is still going to be a monster. Now she'll have the Manta style on top of that, if she wants to complete that, and she will send that to herself on the Courier. So Roger is well on his way to a completed build path, as he's very handily overtaking the Faceless Void, who really only has 2 of those final tier items.
The 3,000 net worth advantage going the way of the Spectre, and with the Manta style now up, I don't know if Faceless Void can win a 1v1 duel, though he does have the Mjolnir. The Lightning will only do so much versus those illusions because they are so buff due to the Heart of Tarask. So Valix is going to need the Chronosphere of his lifetime. He got a pretty decent one last fight, though he couldn't actually bring the Batrider down. Batrider's only at 1,000 HP, so he's still a viable target for the Faceless Void to focus down, but they need to be able to decisively take the fights with the Chronosphere and with the Ravage. If they don't do that, then it's just more time for the Spectre to get more dispersion damage, get more Radiance burn on everyone, and hell, maybe even get 2 or 3 daggers in a fight. So, yeah, when in Mood, they are really heavily pressured now to take perfect fights. If the fight is just slightly off, it's going to be really bad for them. And with the Batrider initiation, a good fight is going to be hard to come by for When in Mood.
Yeah, and they also have the Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker, so yet another big initiation tool for Cleave to start things off on their terms. As long as they have their ultimates up, I really don't see Cleave taking a terrible fight. We are going to see some better items coming up for When in Mood. With the Assault Cuirass picked up by the Alchemist, he's going to make up for his lack of armor, as well as help the Void do a little bit more damage inside the Chronosphere, but even with that, I don't think Spectre is going to be very easy to bring down, especially with Dispersion and Radiance Burn. Even if Roger doesn't auto-attack, Faceless Void might just straight up kill himself on that. For now, they're looking for the Spectre. Will they be able to find Roger out alone? They need to start with the stun. I think he's just going to be able to run straight up towards the north. Night Vision is not the best for ganking.
Turn off your Radiance. It might reveal him. Oh, he's pretty deep in, and he's going to
It will
burn the
reveal
Vengeful
him.
Spirit, so they know he's around there. No. Okay, well, Spectre gets to live for now, but yeah, even with the Assault Cuirass pickup, it's going to be very nice for the Wendigoon side, but if you take a look at the damage distribution from Cleave, the only person who's actually doing any physical damage is the Spectre and the Viper, and Viper is at this point mostly magical with the Viper Strike, so he's going to be dishing a lot of magic there, and Spectre, even though she's hitting pretty hard as well, most of her damage is coming from these magical slash passive sources of Desolate, Dispersion, and Radiance. Her illusions and herself, they're hitting okay, but the Assault Cuirass armor is not going to help that much. And now, Hakon off to the side. He's already flying up in the air, looking for Vil, perhaps. He's a tanky target, but they're going to grab him anyway. And they haunt instantly. Mystic Flare is going to completely whiff, and the Chronosphere is going to drop. Now he's going to try to focus down Hakon. This time, Mech not going to save him. He does drop the gem, and they also have their hands on stress with the wards available. But in the meantime, Roger's in the back. He's already cleaned up so many. And Side Sun Nico is going to try to harass as much as he can. Roger is standing strong, though. He hasn't been hit a single time. He's going to get an Ultra Kill. This might be a Rampage for him. One more. No, Skywrath Mage, don't Rampage. It's going to be 5 for Roger. They have to focus down the Spectre, but they did not focus down the Spectre. It's not looking good for When in Mood.
It's really not. They dropped a Chronosphere while the Haunt was going, so he was able to Haunt to the backlines onto the Tidehunter who was already low, and then just cleaned house after that. And with a Heart of Trust, he doesn't even need to go back to base. He has plenty of mana. Now another tower kill going his way. This Spectre is completely stacked. He's going to have whatever he wants as his next item. This is scary for them. They need to take really good fights, and they weren't able to do it.
The fight looked a lot better than usual. Like, they had a pretty good initiation. They got the Batrider down. The Mystic Flare whiffed from Cleave. And, I mean, that's pretty much as many breaks as you can expect if you're on the When in Mood side. But Spectre is the target to focus. And if you don't focus her, she will punish you. That's going to give her 5 kills. Ultimately, her score ending up at 12-2-9. Snap buys that Diffusal Blade, so selling off the Magic Wand for that one. This is going to give her illusions that extra bit of mana burn, and because the Diffusal Blade is mostly stat based, it'll also make her, and her illusions just hit more, and it won't be reduced or won't even be not counted. Now Hakon was going to try to go for the Alchemist again, though there is backup behind them. This Spectre, I fear, might just be too big for When in Mood to handle.
Yeah, definitely. The Spectre here is pretty much hitting its peak. This is when Spectre rules the game, more or less. The Haunt is going to almost instantly kill the supports. She has the Diffusal Blade, and now that Ghost Scepter on the Shadow Shaman isn't going to be an end-all be-all to keep himself safe. And so if she decides to go on the Shadow Shaman and Vengeful Spirit, they'll just instantly die. And even the Faceless Void isn't looking too tanky. It has backtrack for a little bit of that damage, but still with only 1500 HP. Alchemist not looking that tanky, although 2000 is respectable. For this Spectre, it doesn't matter that much.
And even the Viper can start building some serious damage. There's a Chronosphere on mid lane. They do drop the Mystic Flare, though it's going to be buffed out completely by the BKB. Already the Earthshaker is down. They're going to try to focus down on Stress, but here comes Roger with the knife onto FSM. We'll shred that Vengeful Spirit, easy peasy. Viper's going to go down as they do send the Skywrath Mage up into the air. Roger is taking no damage from Balix at all. Just going to go to town as the Spectre. They can't do anything anymore. This is looking pretty much over. Tommy's on the run. He's going to get flame broken. Alchemist, nowhere to be found. Actually, no, there he is. A little bit too late to the party, man, because Spectre, she's back, and she has Diffusal Blade. He's going to get lifted up into the air. Okay. The Alchemist actually gets a kill on Skywrath Mage because he was sitting in the acids. That's pretty hilarious. Roger, probably taking more damage from Blade Mail than, he's taking from any other source, but it's another clean sweep of When in Mood. They lose 3 in exchange, but Roger is still getting these kills. When in Mood, they're running out of options.
Roger is going to have his 6-slotted build at probably 40 minutes in, and that's not where you want to be. I don't know, this Spectre, she doesn't even really need the Boots of Travel that badly, so she could probably afford to buy her next item if she's not too concerned about buyback, which she probably should. Save up for that, but I don't know. Just give her 5 minutes and she'll have a Butterfly on top of this, or maybe even a Daedalus if she wants it. I don't see them killing her.
Going to be that Butterfly, and then after that she also has a Diffusal upgrade that she can pick up. She's already down a couple of Diffusal charges, pretty much spammed those in that last fight. And then at that point, Spectre is going to be completely and utterly 6-slotted. The Faceless Void, he's still farming okay. He's, though, falling further and further behind the Spectre as far as net worth is concerned. He's holding on to a Demon Edge, so it's most likely going to be, well, I don't know. It's a chance of it being a MKB because he is facing up against evasion from the Viper that he knows about and Spectre evasion that he doesn't know about, so probably MKB will benefit him a lot more, but still the Spectre is just farming so quickly, and now that she has the Talisman of Evasion, with that heart, with the armor, like, Faceless Void can't kill the Spectre. They need to literally have every single hero focus the Spectre while Spectre is hitting a Blade Mail or something like that in order to kill her off.
They really do, and the Faceless Void, his BKB, although it's good, he uses it inside the Chronosphere to make sure that he doesn't die to the Skywrath Mage ultimate. When he doesn't have that, there's not a snowflake's chance in hell that he's going to be able to man-fight up against Roger.
Roger's very quickly heading on towards that Butterfly. The Radiance Burn still providing some serious damage for the Spectre, although this is a big opportunity for Wendemood. They're going to catch the Spectre, but can they kill him off? He's going to pop a dagger and run to the trees? Or just pop the Mantis Style and go to town on Tommy. There's the Haunt. Suddenly a mess of illusions. Roger's going to go 1v5. No problem. He's being focused down pretty quickly. He doesn't have Mantis Style. He's going to throw a dagger, and he'll take out the Tidehunter. Who's next? HeflaTV getting burned down by the Radiance, and FSM will get shot down by the Skywrath Mage. Roger still is perfectly fine. HeflaTV dropping very low. Teleportation out from Veal, but HeflaTV, oh, there we go. Another kill for Roger. Whack. No. Whack.
Burn?
Radiance Burn. Okay, got him. And then on the top side, Valix being aggressed upon by Stress. He's forced to use the Chronosphere defensively. This game is all over.
I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, Roger, they went on him with pretty much everything, and they came away with 3 kills, and didn't really hurt the Spectre that much. He has the heart, and now he's back in fighting shape.
And now she's going to sit very happily up on the high ground. Acid is no big deal for her, nor is it a big deal for Viper, taking pretty much no damage from that. They tagged Vil with a... no, it was actually dodged by Chemical Rage. Can you still do that? Because he didn't get hit with a Viper Strike.
I think you can actually disjoint it, although that's very good timing coming out from Vil.
Very minor wins, let's say. Spectres doesn't have a care in the world. They're going to focus down range racks. Very responsibly done from Cleave, but they catch Vil in the net, and they're going to drag him back into almost a Mystic Flare. FSM does get the swap out, and they're focusing down the Bat Rider. There's a Ravage finally from Tommy, but Spectre, where is she? She's still in the back end, still burning down everyone. Now going to focus down Valix. Valix is going to try to man-fight the Spectre, but Dispersion providing it so much damage for Spectre. Even when she's not even attacking, Valix slow to a crawl. The poison damage is going to take him down, and now Roger's going to diffuse off that Ghost Form from the Shadow Shaman. Now going to go for Veal and to FSM. They might be able to bring down Roger, maybe. Get him. I believe in you, Vil. Oh, it's 60 HP. She gets to the low ground. Now Heart of Tarrasque is going to start kicking in. Stress is still in the base, but he's going to be warded off very shortly. Valix should be able to take this Viper down without using the Chronosphere. The Helmets Halberd going to slow him down, but Stress is all alone. Well, Cleave, they don't necessarily breach the high ground. They take kind of an unnecessary fight. They could have just focused the Raxes and gone out. The Spectre does survive, though, so she's going to continue to be a nuisance.
More than a nuisance, she has a completed Butterfly. This is your 6-slotted Spectre build. But if Win and Mood are able to turtle this out to where they can get a really farmed Faceless Void, as well as the other heroes picking up some significant items, maybe they'll be able to win? I don't know, that's kind of what they're hoping for. They'll get this Roshan, which is a good start for them. But still, for now until probably 60 minutes, the Spectre is going to be king.
And also this Viper, he's finished up his heart. It's all on the Courier, so he has heart and evasion, much like the Spectre having heart and evasion. With the Mechanagonyms, this Viper is going to be nigh unkillable, and then I expect you ship out the Ring of Aquila and get something that hits people very hard. Daedalus, MKB, maybe even a Butterfly for himself. Just stuff that helps him do damage. And then when in mood, they'll have their hands full with Spectre, and then they'll have their hands full with the Viper. It's going to be... they'll need multiple hands in order to hold all these heroes, because Spectre now, with the final Diffusal Blade upgrade, is very truly 6-slotted. Maybe super late game she ships out the Radiance or replaces the Mantis Style or something like that, but she's pretty much done farming.
Yeah. The only item I would see her picking up would maybe be an Abyssal Blade, or potentially MKB, if she really needs it up against the Faceless Void if he gets a Butterfly. But for now, there's no reason to do that. I think more likely we'll probably just see the Refresher Orb on the Courier so that she'll have double Haunt, if she actually picks up a next item at all.
And she could also get stronger through her teammates' items. They don't have a Vlad's just yet, nor do they have an Assault Cuirass. Both of those would help the Spectre an incredible amount, and they're pretty realistic pickups for the Viper picking up the Assault Cuirass. Anyone else picking up the Vlad's, I don't really know who would, but really it doesn't matter whether it's Skywrath Mage or Earthshaker. A Vlad's is a Vlad's, and if the Spectre does have that additional survivability, plus damage, plus lifesteal on top of her survivability, it's going to be hard for When in Mood. Fortunately for them, they do hold on to their melee Raxes down bottom, but I think that's going to be a very short-lived victory. Spectre is going to do split-pushing business, as Spectres normally do at this stage, while the rest of the team, grouped up in mid, going to look to slow push the mid lane.
Yeah, slow and steady. No reason for Cleave to rush this. They are pushing up into an Aegis after all, so it's not the easiest push. They also have a cheese on the Alchemist. So it's just going to be this tier 2 tower in mid while the Spectre puts some pressure up in top, farms up the enemy jungle. If she needed any farm, she'll have that, and buyback is going to be very easy for Spectre to hold on to.
Faces Void, look how far back he is. He does not want to get caught out by a lasso. That will spell doom for the When in Mood side. They have those auras that I was talking about as Vengeful Spirit does pick up the Vlad's as Roger does go straight in. Who's going to be? It's going to be FSM. There's the Ravage onto everyone, though. Tommy gets slowed down by the Fissure. Still in the back end. Roger's unable to actually connect onto anyone. They take out the Skywrath Mage, and Roger, what are you doing? You got to be hitting people down south, man. He's going to chase after Tommy with an illusion. Radiance Burn is going to take that kill, and now Valix, he's disarmed, and he's slowed to a crawl. He's going to be burned down. Vil is now the target for Roger. He's going to try to man fight in that BKB form. Now he's going to get slowed to a crawl, though. Diffusal Blade value, and Cleave, they have a Fissure. They will land it onto Vil, but Roger is still there for the damage. That's going to be 3 kills for the Spectre. Faceless Void does slip out of there alive, and they get 2 kills, but that's way too much of a cost in exchange for that.
It is. They just can't deal with the Spectre. I think that pretty much sums up what's happening right now. Now the tier 3 tower is going to die. No buybacks available. Chronosphere down for 38 seconds. I don't think they're saving this barracks, but they're not going to call it just yet. They might have one good fight left in them as soon as people respawn, but honestly, I think this is at least 2 barracks, and now with the Echo Slam onto the Faceless Void, as well as the Spectre right-clicking him, he's not going anywhere.
That's a clean sweep. 2 supports are up, but these 2 supports can do literally nothing versus the Spectre. Hex him and then slowly take Dispersion and Radiance Burn doesn't sound like a good way to die to me. That's 2 lanes of Raxes, and it's going to be very shortly a 3rd lane of Raxes, if not just go for the GG. They have 2 heroes with hearts who could tank up towers and take literally nothing for it, and yeah, GG is going to be called.
Yeah, no big surprises there at the end of the game. This Spectre just got off to an absolutely wonderful start. Her impact in the game was delayed while the Faceless Void was rocking the show, but they killed her twice, which isn't enough, and at the end of the game she's going to end with something ridiculous like 22 and 14 as her KDA? 18, yeah.
Not bad at all, and most crucially for When in Mood, you said they only killed her twice, and one of those kills was irrelevant because she already had her relic, and then they tried to put enough pressure onto the Cleave side. They played correctly in the sense that they made tower pushes happen when they were ahead, but it just didn't work out for them. The Spectre stalled for a little bit too long, and well, a 21-18 Spectre kind of speaks for itself. But that's only game 1 in a best of 2 set, guys. Cleave are up 1-0. Let's see if When in Mood can pull it back in game number 2.
Yeah, so see you in game number 2 shortly. Should be coming up soon, so don't go anywhere. GG to both teams.